Good evening. Welcome to Good Guy Sports. I'm Jackson Gerke alongside your co-host Mike Roby and Blake Lumber. Blake Lumberger should be or will be joining us with a guest. We don't know for sure, but if he does, we will stand by and let you know if he does. If he does, if he does come on with a special guest that he's known from college, we will let you know and update you if he does, and we will have it for you on Good Guy Sports. In the meantime, though, we are going to talk about some other sports while we wait on our co-host to come on. The first thing I want to talk about is a sport that's going on right now, just down the road from where Blake Gerke currently resides, at a place called none other than Pinehurst #2 in Pinehurst, North Carolina. And and when I think of Pinehurst, I think of a great golfing destination. Great one one of the top places to retire and even maybe raise a family, and by far becoming a destination for a vacation or like you say for like a weekend stay. Pinehurst has all that to offer, and that's where we're going to talk about right now. As currently Patrick Cantley has a one-shot lead over Ludwig Alberg, currently in progress in round one. Now Scotty Scheffler is one over at the moment. The defending last week's PGA Championship at Muirfield Village at Jack's Place up in Columbus. My dad is happened to be in Columbus, Ohio right now for a sales jersey meeting up there right now. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that a little later. But so far in this tournament, top three players are Bryson DeChambeau, free under with Michelle Perduro, Rory McIlroy, and Tony Finau are outside the top 10 or top three. One of those two players, Max Homa and Xander Schauffele, and are even par right now, and Tiger Woods is, as expected, not
plus
not
four.
not doing great. So yeah, and Tiger just really, it looks to be that he is outside of the leaderboard. So
Yeah.
whatever that
Scotty's
means,
still on the.
whatever that means, it's not looking great for Tiger and for his and for one of his irons or for his clubs. It's just has he is he's it sounds like to me that he's not playing a a um a great opening round, and just really off to a tough start. And I mean, you're playing a very tough course, golf's a tough game, and that's what it's going to do to you. And especially how tough
Well, it's
design
just good to have some of the big
Pinehurst is.
names there
So
at
there's that.
Pinehurst. Like
Yeah.
it's good to have just a lot of the big players there, right, Mike?
Yeah. Scotty's still on the course, I think.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, he is.
He's probably on 12 or 13 by now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you would imagine him and Schauffele will kind of be there or thereabouts, but yeah, interesting leaderboard so far, I would say, with the likes of Ludwig Aberg, who a lot of people had as a good like an early round pick in the Masters, and Bryson and Rory are always there. You got Tony Finau thereabouts. So there's that's what you want in majors, is a lot of big names come the third and fourth round.
Well, I think what makes Pinehurst tough is the what they call the turtleback greens. They kind of humped over with no real rough to slow the ball down. I guess the best description I read about those was it's almost like trying to hit a golf ball on top of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Wow, that can't be easy.
One thing you're missing about the course and the design of it is that you got a bunch of Bermuda grass that's everywhere. So you got to deal with all of that if you're trying to drive the ball and in the fairway, and just try to stay on the green as much as you can. Just try to don't get too cute and just really just do all your just make sure you chip it to the right hole, and just with all your with your driver and fairway, just make sure you don't go off target, and I think that's really the key for all the players. Just make sure you don't make sure you just try to don't go out of bounds, and just do this. Don't make a bad mistake on going outside the drop zones, or although there's not much water in play in this course, but you gotta stay out of stay but you gotta but you gotta make sure you stay on the green, and stay in play, and just not go out of bounds, and just really take it out of play, or result in the penalty, or else bad things could happen. So if you're a player in this course, you got to have a game plan right, and stick with your game plan, and trust with your caddy, and just know what's really what works best for you and for your player, and if that works out, great. But if it doesn't, then it's going to be a long day on the course.
What's the weather forecast for this weekend down at Pinehurst?
It's supposed to rain. Supposed to be isolated showers, raining. On Friday. It's supposed to be raining on Wednesday for the second round and third round for Friday and Saturday. Sunday looks to be partly cloudy from what I've read from the meteorologist in the forecast. Although I am saying that it's going to be sunny for the next few days, but I could be wrong. But according to what I'm seeing
No,
on
it looks
the
it looks
forecast,
clean. Yeah, yeah. Should be pretty clear weather. I think nothing that any of these guys aren't particularly used to. I don't think.
Yeah,
Saturday's
good.
supposed to be a high of 89, 71, 67, and 90 on Saturday, and then the final round's supposed to be a 67 and 90 degrees on Sunday. So we should be looking good, pretty good weather-wise. The only question is the wind, and how will pick up how will affect the players remains to be seen. Before we move on, do you guys have a prediction to who wins the 100th U.S. Open?
Well, based off of the leaderboard, you don't want to overreact to day one, certainly. And I still think Schauffele and Scheffler and McIlroy, Morikawa, the names you see on the odds, top five odds and stuff like that. They'll be thereabouts. If I had to pick one person right now, I'll stick with my guy Ludwig. I had him as my dark horse pick for the Masters. He's young, maybe too young, but sometimes you see it, a lot of these guys getting their first major before you might predict otherwise. So I'm gonna back Ludwig. Why not?
I couldn't disagree. I think they're all going to be right in there. I like Ludwig.
You're picking you're gonna go for Ludwig as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I probably haven't had a first time winner in a decent while as well for some of these majors. So
Yeah.
Of
course, it's hard to it's hard not to pick Scotty. He's been playing some good golf.
It's true, yeah. I mean, listen, going against Scotty at your own peril would be the way. Even the if you look at any of the bettors are still favoring picking Scheffler, despite the fact that his odds, are so low, and you're realistically not getting a great advantage there. But ultimately, he's just playing so much better than any of the other golfers that people that are betting these large sums are just scared to go against him, and I can't really say that I blame them. Who do you have, Jack? Just out of curiosity.
For me, I mean, this is going to be a pick 'em for me. I think I'm going to be I think I'm going to be leaning towards Corey Connors,
Corey Connors.
the Canadian player. So
Interesting.
that's
Okay.
who I'm leaning towards.
Any particular reason you like Corey Connors, or you just think he's just playing good golf right now, you think?
I just think he's playing some. I just think he's playing some really good golf.
Yeah.
He's pretty talented. I think he's I think that I think he's got a shot at it, and I think that he just and I think he can do just that.
Now, has he ever won a major, Corey Connors?
I don't think so.
I can do a quick search to double check that, but he's definitely a name. He's Canadian as well, right?
Mhm.
Maple Tiger Woods, maybe they call him, but doesn't. Yeah, I'm looking at his finishes. Nothing really. Never even made a top 5. His best finish was tied for 6th in the Masters 2 years ago. So that'd be you look very smart if you come back here next week. I don't think many people had Corey Connors on their bingo card coming into this U.S. Open. So could be a good pick from you there, Jack. I like going out on the. I mean, he is doing well today, to be fair. So 1 under, so he's kind of in that pack. But yeah, I like it. I like it.
All right, now let's talk. The next sport, NBA Finals. The Boston Celtics are up 3-0 right now.
Not going to be going on much longer. So
and on the other side, the Dallas Mavericks are the Dallas Mavericks are on the they are just on the wrong side of history. Just not where you want to be. They are just in unfamiliar familiar territory right now, as currently the teams that lead 3-0 series have gone on to win the NBA Finals, but my predictions have not for entering this series has into this matchup has not gone great for me so far. So Boston was off to a slow start in the last few games, yet they found a way to win a game, and they actually prior to the last game, they actually lost Kyle Porzingis, who actually familiar for those of you who are familiar, and I'm sure Russell likes this, that he knows it too well, that the Celtics actually acquired him from a trade from your Wizards. So now the Porzingis is just sidelined and most likely just, I thought it was going to be a blow for the Celtics, because Porzingis just wasn't really 100% healthy, and just wasn't really getting himself in shape or going for this player. And I would think the Celtics were somehow just I thought they were going to lose. I thought they were going to lose this game pretty easily. So let's face it, they were like down 21 at most in the first half, until like they cut it to a 10-point game in half. And then it was a 1-point lead at halftime. Yet the Mavs just went on a little run. The Celtics just went a little on and off, hot and cold. And then just Kyrie Irving and the Mavs just somehow got really hot, and then Kyrie Irving just got into foul trouble with 4 minutes remaining in the game, and then pretty much from there it was just all Celtics, and then they took game 3 of the NBA Finals. So you got to think Dallas has got to find a way to stave off elimination for the next game, which will be on Friday. They got to do something and figure something out for Jason Kidd and the Mavericks and Derek Wabby and those guys. They got to get something figured out in the dress, or else the series could be over very quickly, which nobody wants to see. But Dallas better find a game plan and stave off elimination to force Game 5 back in Boston, or else The series is a wrap, and Uncle Steve will be celebrating the championship and make his plans in downtown Boston with the Celtics. If the Mavericks don't win their next game, that's just how I see it, and that's what's going to happen. So, Blake Lumberger, the basketball expert guy, talk to me. And Blake and Mike, feel free to jump into this conversation. But I want to start with Blake Lumberger. Blake, is there
Jackson.
Blake Lumberger? Blake Lumberger. Let me ask you: Is there anything that impressed you with the run the Celtics had? For what was a up and down, crazy kind of game for them in their last few games. Talk to me, Blake.
Jackson. Teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. Everything's impressed me. Dallas is going as hard as they can go. I think Kyrie's giving it everything he's got. I think Luka's giving it everything he's got. But the Celtics are too deep. They play like South Carolina's women's Gamecocks won the championship, and Dawn Staley said, "I'm not a place to come if you want to be a star. We win championships and we do it as a team." It seems like Boston has the same plan right now. They're just too deep, Jackson.
Yeah.
They have too many people. Go ahead, Mike.
Now, I was gonna say, I think the Mavericks are playing 2 against 5.
Mm-hmm. Correct. 100%.
That's it. I mean, you look at the points that the Mavericks big, their forwards and centers, they're just not scoring. And the Celtics, game 3, they just targeted Luka, got him to foul out with, a little over 4 minutes to go remaining in the game. That's it. That's what they're going to do in game 4.
Yeah, it's over. I think Dallas might get one game, but when it goes back, maybe Boston lets them have this next one so they can win it in their own stadium and they come back to Boston and win it all. But Jackson, I got a little family event. The family's rolling into the place in 5 minutes. I'm gonna have to meet you guys next week. I'm so sorry, but thanks for letting me jump in real quick. Man, I'm cheering for Dallas. I just don't think there's a chance. I just don't think they have a chance, though. I think Boston's gonna secure. And I think if Mike and Blake, what they said, this will be the record. They will surpass the Lakers if they win it. Correct?
That's right.
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. They will.
18.
They will break. They will break the all-time record, and it will be their 19th NBA championship if they
18.
I'm sorry. They will break the 18/19th NBA title.
No, just 18.
I know they would yes. I'm saying is that they're both tied with the Lakers right now. But like I said, again, if the Celtics were able to win on Friday, they will break the tie and will have the most NBA titles combined. The second best, it'll be ahead of the Bulls, the Lakers, and the Spurs to name a few. And for many of the most NBA dynasties of all, it'll be on that list. And the Celtics will be one of the most NBA championships titles won by any team if we were able to find a way to get it done on Friday. They will have the most NBA titles.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
it's impressive. Yeah, and I think that's good analysis. I think Mike and Blake are spot on when they say what's been the key to the series, because we heard it. A lot of people were saying it before the series, including ourselves. If Boston wants to win this series, it's pretty obvious they have to neutralize and defend Luka and Kyrie. And I think a lot of us, including myself, pointed out that if you were to draw up a team that would give Dallas the most matchup problems defensively, it would look like the Celtics, where they've got Brown and Tatum, who are both, they're stars, but they're also great two-way players as well, where Luka and Kyrie are great offensive players. So throw in Drew Holiday, who's a lockdown perimeter defender, into the mix as well. Derek White, great defender as well, two-way player. It's just a really well-constructed team. And I think maybe people were overthinking it a little bit too much, saying that Luka and Kyrie the best offensive players in this series, but you know, it's not obviously NBA is a very offensive, you know, like player focused, star driven leagues, like the best, you know, Luka, Giannis, LeBron, or whatever, win titles and win NBA Finals MVPs. But sometimes, you know, a year like this year, it's if you put together a team like Boston has that's so deep, you know, forget about 1 to 5, even 1 to 8. That's, you know, that's gonna make a big difference, especially when a team like Dallas is so top heavy. If they are able to neutralize their top talent in Luka and Kyrie, which they have in these first 3 games, then you know it's going to be series is going to be a wrap. So I can't say I'm too surprised the way it's gone. Maybe Dallas getting one back just from a huge scoring night from Luka or Kyrie would have been the way that they get back in the series, but obviously Luka had the foul trouble last night, so just never really happening.
Celtics have yet to lose a playoff game on the road this season.
It's pretty surprising. Yeah, it's you know, I think we were talking about home court maybe not being as big of a factor in this playoffs entirely. To be fair, Boston just haven't really lost. I mean, they haven't lost many home games too either.
No.
Only 2. They haven't lost many games regular
They're
season or
16 and
playoffs
2 right now.
Throw in the regular season as well. I think they were 62 and 20, right?
Yeah.
So they're definitely, people have questioned maybe the toughness of the Eastern Conference playoffs this year, given the fact that there's a lot of injuries in some of their opponents. So people have maybe are trying to throw water on the Celtics being like one of the great all-time playoff teams, but ultimately the record doesn't lie. If you put together the regular season record and this impressive postseason record as well, and if they finish it off with a sweep in the finals as well, that would make it even sweeter. I mean, there's not many sweeps in the finals. Even last year, Denver was overpowering Miami, and Miami still got 1 game to make it a 5-er. So that might happen on Friday night in Dallas. We'll see. They might get a gentleman's sweep, as we call it, where they give them a free game at the end there. But yeah, I mean, you can't really argue. People can downplay the matchups and say that it was an easy path, quote unquote. Personally, I don't really buy that. I just think Boston might not have the star power. Like Tatum and Brown are great players. Tatum and Brown aren't like, you know, they're not like Steph Curry or you know, Jokic or Luka level of like, or even Anthony Edwards to a certain extent. He's still kind of up and coming, but they just have a really well constructed team. So, you know, they say, you know, stars win championships. I think defense is winning Boston this championship, and I think the front office is really the. I think if they hand the trophy down, they should really hand it to Brad Stevens, who's in the Boston front office, who's assembled this team, because they're just stacked, and obviously they've got a big payroll, so you would expect them to have a deep team. But if it was that easy, everyone would do it, right? Like just spend a lot of money, pay the luxury tax, put together a stacked roster. But it's easier said than done. So finding that right blend of talent is what's gotten Boston this far. So yeah, credit to them.
All right, Blake. We'll stay on the topic of basketball, and it involves in college basketball where Dan Hurley says no thanks. He is going to
Thanks, but no thanks.
in UConn and request for a 3P, which has been done in college basketball before since the John Wooden days of UCLA. Which really I think he has made one of the tough decisions ever in his as a person or as a coaching career for himself. He will return he will return to another season at UConn and will be by far one of the best elite blue bloods programs in the country up there in Connecticut. He will be by far one of the best coaches out there that everybody in college basketball is going to have to deal with in the upcoming season. They will by far be a team to beat in the NCAA tournament. Even before that, in their conference, they will be the best team out there. although I did hear my sources tell me that I feel like Hurley and LeBron that I might I feel like to me I feel like something tells me that they were probably uncomfortable to be with each other would be my guess. So that's why he decided to return to Storrs, Connecticut to stay put to keep the job. So he will return to UConn for another season. They will still become the best team they're still the best team to beat, and they're never going to be favorites. And yes, I do think Hurley will by far be the toughest man out there to beat if you are a college basketball program, whether if you're in the Big East or in the NCAA tournament or in the or in the Big East tournament, you're just going to have to deal with the Huskies, and I think that and I think it plays a large part of that. And I think that UConn Huskies are still the team to beat despite all that, and he is by far college basketball. I think he belongs with his family. It's really great that he shouldn't have to move. That should have that he doesn't have to move and sell his house because he is through and through a East Coaster guy from Jersey City. Their families, his mom and his family's from there, which is why it makes the program so great, especially for that's especially for him, which makes him more comfortable in a situation like that. Good for him. He deserves it. I think that he just deserves. I think he deserves it. I think it's just best for him, his family, and for his and and for a player individually himself. By far one of the most championships of all the coaches. Now obviously if I did a comparison of that, Billy Donovan left Florida to coach the NBA, but then left left the NBA to go back to coach college basketball at Florida before he does before eventually that he does that he does actually accept the job with the Bulls. Uh, um but with Dan Hurley though, he just does the other route and opposite, which is stay in college, don't go to the pros. Obviously, Nick Saban used to coach in the NFL, but always has stayed put in college ever since, especially when he played his tenure at Alabama, although that's a different sport. But you get the idea. But Hurley for every season at UConn, that's great news if you're a UConn fan, especially for that program and for that basketball powerhouse. They deserve it, and I think Dan Hurley will continue to do great there, and I think that he deserves for what this program has to offer.
Yeah, I think it was obviously we talked about it last week, and it was just there was nothing confirmed obviously last week, and there was still some speculation about how serious are both parties in terms of like how bad did the Lakers want Dan Hurley? Are they just using him to kind of like apply leverage to some of the other candidates like a la JJ Redick, whose name is back in the leaderboard for the job now? But yeah, I think it's certainly interesting. I think people were maybe forcing narratives thinking that he wanted to get out of college because NIL and transfer portal are ruining college basketball and stuff like that. But ultimately, he's just got a really good thing going in UConn. So, somewhere like a Coach K at Duke, or all these great coaches. Obviously,
the lure of the three-peat.
Yeah, I mean, you can't underrate that. It's leaving at the pinnacle. Maybe you would say his stock has never been higher, so he should take a job like the Lakers. But ultimately, like Jack said, he's a Northeast guy. I think he played college ball at Seton Hall, I think, in New Jersey, and he's kind of just been in the Northeast. So obviously the Lakers made a nice offer financially. It's the Lakers. It's probably, if not the the first top three, you know, biggest name in basketball, let alone sports. So I can
Yeah.
imagine it was tempting,
It can't
right?
be easy to turn down 70 million.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that would. I think I read that would put him as like the sixth highest paid coach in the NBA. Actually, weirdly enough, so not even top five to be fair. But
Yeah.
which I guess maybe if you're a Lakers coach, you'd think maybe you should be like a top three paid coach. But I don't know. It's a bit weird. I think also an underrated factor is the Western Conference, like we've been saying, is really good and much better than the Eastern Conference. So realistically, okay, you have LeBron James. He's an older LeBron James, but he's still LeBron James. You have Anthony Davis. You've got a few other nice pieces, Austin Reeves, etc. But realistically, what do you think you can do with this Lakers team next year, given, you know, some of these young teams, especially, you know, Minnesota, OKC, who we saw, Dallas has Luka, they're always going to be around. You know, the Warriors still have Steph and Clay as old as they are. The Clippers have big names. You know, there's just a lot of talented teams. The Spurs have Wembanyama. So I just don't think it's as simple as saying we hire a new coach and boom, we're gonna be a top three seed. I mean, they might struggle to be even a top five seed in the West, given some of the strong teams that we saw this postseason. So you know, Memphis is going to be back as well with a full year of Ja Morant. So I just don't think it's as tempting. Obviously, it's a tempting offer financially, the allure of the Lakers, but I think given his personal circumstances coming off back-to-back titles and being on opposite ends of the country, it's not as much of a slam dunk maybe as people think. So I don't know, Mike, were you so surprised that he didn't end up taking it?
No, not really. I think he just saw the grass isn't always greener. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm just wondering if you know, LeBron wants to play with his son, how much that distraction that might have ended up being. But I think
Well,
there was
yeah.
probably other little tiny distractions where he recognized where he's at now. You know, he's got a good thing and a chance to three-peat.
Yeah, it's a bit of a it's a bit of a weird situation. You don't know how much behind the scenes is going on with LeBron calling the shots. Obviously, you would expect him to have a good amount of say in the franchise. I mean, it is the Lakers, so you would hope they kind of make decisions for the long term as well, not just to appease LeBron. But yeah, like you said, it wouldn't. I think most people are getting ready for the Lakers to select Bronny like in the second round or whatever in the draft. Probably
Or just
coming
the
up
first,
in a few weeks,
just to get it over with.
Well, yeah, I'm just waiting for a different team to take him before and then try to leverage him for trade.
Well, that
And
would be the thing to do.
that's what I would do if I was a rival
Absolutely.
GM. If I'm like
Absolutely.
like the Clippers or something, I'm just like, I'll take him. I didn't actually they probably don't have draft picks because they trade him all away. But if I'm like a, you know, OKC or like a Charlotte or New Orleans, some team that nobody wants to play for, just draft Bronny and say, all right, LeBron, what are you gonna do? Yeah, the Wizards take Bronny and say, all right, LeBron, you want to play with your son so much? Why don't you come to DC? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably won't end up happening, but a lot of this is, you know, agents get involved and all that good stuff. But yeah, I guess it looks like Jack now, JJ Redick, our fellow podcast host, is looks like he's the front runner now for the job.
Looks like it. It appears that way. He is the front runner, and I do think and I would expect him to get the job one way or the other. Um, the Lakers do have some other options to look for too in the coaching search. So I would expect Redick to take the job as a front runner despite all that. So I think he should be able to take it.
Yeah, it's quite the daunting task for your first NBA job. Obviously, he recently retired, so he knows the league still well. Obviously, he does good media work, commentating and podcasts and stuff like that. But that's quite the jump into the league, just going straight in, as the coach of LeBron and the Lakers. So that'll be interesting one to see if how big the expectations become too much there. So I'll definitely be one to keep an eye on next year.
Hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed to see if he accepts it. We will let you know, and we'll have it for you, and we'll break it, and we'll have it and break it for you on Green Guy Sports. If anything, if any new information comes, we will have it for you, and we will certainly let you know if we have if or when it's if or when it's becomes available. All right, let's move on now to from one sport or the other. We go from basketball to hockey, where the series now switches to the longest distance traveled um Stanley Cup playoff series ever. The last time we had a Stanley Cup final for the longest distance traveled between venues and series was the Bruins Canucks Canucks series back in 2011, where that one ended up going to 7 games, and the Bruins ended up taking Game 7 on the road at Vancouver, ended up winning the Cup final that year, as we all know how that found out. But this year, obviously, but this year though, the Edmonton Oilers are down 2-0 to the Florida Panthers right now. They are so far. The Panthers are just red hot. They're just continuing to stick with their game plan. Paul Mazzarich and Kachuk, and those guys are just staying red hot. They're just sticking sticking with just not making any changes, just sticking with their game plan as it usually does. On the other side, you got Connor McDavid and the Oilers. They were scoreless in the power play in the last few games. Their offense just couldn't get anything going, and they just weren't clicking at the right time.
They scored one goal.
Yeah, that's it. So history says itself that if you're leading 2-0, right? So history says itself that if you're down 2-0, and if you're a team that wins 2-0, 90% of the time, teams have gone on to win the Stanley Cup final. So something to really keep an eye on. But in recent history, in recent heads itself that that's the last time we actually had a team come from behind in a 2-0 series. The Montreal Canadiens in 1971, the Penguins in 2009, and then the most recent one that I just mentioned, the Boston Bruins in 2011. So, the Oilers do have a chance to at least get one game for a great start, but you got to take one game at a time and just don't get ahead of yourself. Make an adjustment. You're you're changing venues. You're going into a rock style and hostile environment up in Edmonton or Alberta and the Rogers Center, I believe. So in front of a raucous crowd who's going to be really in it. So if you're a road team, you got to deal with the noise of Edmonton, and those Oilers fans. They're going to be everywhere. They're just going to make the communication not great for the Panthers team. They just got to stick with the usual game plan that they do. They did lose one of their best players, which is a blow for the series, but that's on the Panthers. So something to really keep an eye on as the series switches and goes forward for game 3. So yeah, as Mike mentioned, Edmonton only scored at least only one goal. Had so many shots, they just couldn't get any in the net. They were scoreless. They gotta go back to basics and just try to rewrite the ship and just try to spark up their offense and just try to get their offense going and just just get him, just get him hot, and just get him, just get to your players and just try to stay in the moment. Just try to believe in yourself and show no quit on those guys. Just a 2-1 series lead. A 2-1 series lead would be a great start for them, but you just gotta take one game at a time. Just if not one period at a time, because obviously each team in each period just has their own game plan. Just throwing pressure on you, but you just gotta just just take it easy and just try to just try to have some life if you're an Oilers fan. Then good things will happen, but we'll see. But the Oilers better get something done, or else the series could be over if they can't get anything figured out. But I'm sure the Oilers will but I'm sure Edmonton will figure something out and get a good game plan going for their in front of their home fans. I'm sure that Edmonton will find a way to win a game, at least one of them, but probably for tonight. But going forward for game 4 and 5 and 6 remains to be seen. Like I said, I don't want to look too ahead of myself, but for Edmonton, at least feel good of yourself for getting a win for now. But game 4 and 5 and 6 remains to be seen.
Bobrovsky, the goalkeeper for the Panthers, have been doing an outstanding job for Florida.
Oh yeah, he is by far the dominant goaltender of of the series. So yeah,
It's not a huge surprise. He had a great postseason last year as well. He's kind of been a steady presence in that Florida goal. So that's what you need to make a deep run like this. They have, right?
I mean, Skinner's been doing well for the Oilers, but he needs help. He needs help from his defenseman. I mean, he stopped 40 or 45 shots, but several of the shots that went in were reflected off of defense.
Exactly. Yeah. You certainly wouldn't say he's had a bad series, or the Panthers have defended. You said they have a couple of deflected shots off the defenseman, but I wouldn't say, obviously the offense has been much more of an issue this series, right? For Edmonton, which is a bit surprising given kind of some of their firepower going in. Maybe you can credit the Florida defense with that, and Bobrovsky as well. So that's going to have to really change up in Edmonton, and obviously having a bit of extra energy with that home crowd, you would hope would definitely add a bit of jets to those skates for some of these quick Edmonton skaters, and they're going to look to capitalize on that, I think, early tonight, and really try to get a goal or two in the first period, because ultimately, if they keep putting themselves in a hole against Bobrovsky, they're just going to be chasing the game, and then it's it becomes a bit desperate, particularly when you're already down 2-0. So I think if Edmonton wants to turn the tide, they're going to have to really, I think, score early and really dominate the first period in particular.
Florida's plane was late taking off.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
bad weather, so maybe
that's a good luck for the Oilers.
Thing. That's good for the Oilers.
Maybe Wayne Gretzky called in a storm. He's the great one is so powerful, he can just create a storm out of nothing in South Florida.
Yeah, he could. But I think Barkov for the Panthers I think he'll be playing tonight. He's past any concussion protocol from the big hit he took in game 2.
So I think Florida's going to be looking for a bit of revenge tonight. Think they might go headhunting. I mean, you don't want to see it, but
not. Probably
maybe
I think they'll be. I think
they wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to shy away from hitting.
Right.
But it's going to be a physical game.
Florida's a very physical team. Something that we've mentioned throughout this postseason. So, wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of extracurriculars tonight. Given I know they probably said publicly that it's hockey, but yeah, I think Florida's going to be a bit upset about that hit on Barkov in the previous game. So, if history is to go by, we know hockey, there's a lot of outlaw justice that goes on. So definitely will be a physical one tonight for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
what's
sure
our next
we'll,
topic, Jack?
yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out what happens tonight. We'll definitely keep you posted, but I'm sure we'll let you know if we have any final result for the game. We will let you know on Good Guy Sports for you, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that on a later date. Right now, though, we are going to be talking about some other topics that I want to get to before we get to our next sport. So I don't know if you heard, but Joey Chestnut is no longer going to be competing and banned from the Nathan's hot dog contest. And the reason because of the rival brand um Impossible Meats. So obviously, when I first heard about it, I thought, and I thought to myself, why would he do this? It would be like going up against a rival competitor like Oscar Mayer or even I don't know, or even a store brand, or I don't know, just some other national competitive hot dog brand name.
Franks.
So you think about it, you think of Joey Chestnut, obviously the 8-time defending eating contest winner of the by far by far the best competitive eater out there. So obviously, I don't know if I'm probably shocked. I mean, I don't know if I'm not surprised about when I first heard about it. I didn't know this was going to happen, but it did. But obviously, obviously when I obviously Joey, I feel like just made the wrong decision when it comes to that. And I think that if you think about it, I mean, Joey Chestnut, does he not even know like does he not even know anything about vegan or gluten-free hot dogs? Like
I don't know. I
our
mean, in
family eats
my opinion,
I mean, look,
I
our
think the
family
hot
eat
dog
I mean, our
contests, I
family
think they
eats
made it. They,
I mean, look, our family eats gluten-free hot dog meats and vegan stuff, but
what, you don't like vegan hot dogs?
well, I mean, I feel like Joey Chestnut is I feel like to me he wants to try like I feel like to me he wants to be on a different diet, like vegan or gluten-free or something like that. When I
I
first
think he
I
just
think
did
it's
a, I think
all
he
about the
just,
money.
yeah, he just did a brand
So
deal with
he
them.
just did a marketing.
I don't know. In my opinion, I think I don't blame Joey Chestnut. I blame the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
I agree.
I
I
mean,
would,
Joey Chestnut is like your star, so I don't know
yeah.
why they think the Nathan's hot dog eating contest thinks they're like the Stanley Cup Finals or something, and they can just pick and choose and ban their biggest stars. I mean, you don't see the NBA Finals banning Luka for
Yeah.
for signing a brand deal with somebody, but
Yeah, Joey's probably making more in an endorsement with the Impossible than he earned winning the contest.
well, it's already starting to backfire on them because there's actually a recent update on this where
Yeah, there's going
Netflix,
to be a rival.
yeah, Netflix
Yeah,
announced they're picking up a hot dog eating contest between Joey Chestnut and Kobayashi on Labor Day. So
yeah,
they've already secured a new deal. So
yeah,
Nathan's probably going to now have to backtrack and say, okay, all right, well, sorry,
yeah.
you can sign with whoever you want to sign with,
You just have to buy our mustard.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that Nathan can just stay in their lane and just, have your hot dog eating contest. And
Yeah,
if Joey Chestnut wants to do it, then let the guy do it. That's why people
exactly.
watch. That's my 2 cents anyway. My 2 dogs on it.
well, at least you guys make a great point in argument about it on different opinions. Well,
It's a good topic.
for what people have really just yeah, it is because people are just talking about and hearing about it, and
Also, I love
your
hot
reactions and
dogs.
our reactions are, I think you just are pretty solid from what I said and what you guys are just hearing and sending me. So I guess you and I have make both great points. All right, so and also speaking of hot dogs, there was a dog eating a hot dog at the Mariners game this
I
past
saw that.
weekend.
Yeah,
Did,
that
did
was
you see
funny.
that, Mike? I mean, first of all, I gotta ask you, can your I think it would upset their stomachs, but can Uncle Mike's dogs Racy and Sandy eat hot dogs?
No,
It's definitely not good for dogs, but
not.
it made for a funny clip though.
Yeah, yeah. No, their stomachs would get all upset.
Yeah. I just wanted to act because I saw a highlight of it on like Sports Center and stuff on different sports on like TV and stuff. So I just really just I just thought it might be funny. So
Mhm.
just
Oh,
to
it's
share it with you guys.
definitely
So
definitely
Yeah,
hilarious.
Yeah.
funny clip.
yeah, that's yeah. Just wanted to see what you guys are thoughts about it. I thought if I was pretty funny and cute at the same time. That's really cool stuff there. All right, um, so let's talk about another topic here. I don't know if you've heard about this, Blake, but the Eagles and the Falcons were fined by a 2025 draft pick by some controversial pick. What's going on, Blake? What's happening?
It's well, it's no surprise given the recent moves the Falcons have been making. Have been head scratchers to say the least. So they were being investigated for tampering in the free agency period. And the free agent, they were fined and they were removed a 5th-round draft pick. So not the end of the world, but in the NFL, like a 5th-round draft pick actually has a chance of playing. So ultimately, it still matters a little bit. But so they were punished for tampering in the signing of quarterback Kirk Cousins, if you can believe it.
Yeah, and fined $250,000.
$250,000, and the GM specifically was fined $50K as
Yeah.
well. Who the GM later selected a quarterback with the 8th overall pick in the NFL draft. So we signed a quarterback for $100 million. Then we drafted a quarterback with the 8th overall pick, who traditionally you would play, if not the first couple of games, the top 10 pick you would play very quickly. But we signed Kirk Cousins, who for $100 million, who presumably is going to want to play for a couple of years. And then we got fined for tampering for signing the older quarterback. So we got two. So basically, at the end of all this, we got 2 quarterbacks who presumably will both want to play, and we got fined $250,000. So that's been the Falcons' offseason so far. So to say I'm not optimistic would be an understatement.
And on the flip side of that, it also involves with the Eagles cleared by signing Saquon Barkley. So obviously the Eagles were fine and didn't
Yeah, because
do
they're
anything
actually a
wrong.
well-run
It was just the
organization. Yeah.
Falcons that were just on the ones that got caught. Amidst all of this is what this reporting was.
Yeah, interesting story. So hey, listen, they've got a lot of talent, so ultimately it could work, but just from a team building standpoint, I've got a few question marks, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong come September.
Sure, I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about that when football season starts to roll around again. I'm sure we'll.
And
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have
Aaron
more about
Rodgers
that.
missed the first day of mandatory minicamp.
Saw that. Yeah, there's always some sort of news story going on with the Jets, isn't there?
Yeah.
I feel like the Jets are just. I feel like the Jets, what I would call the Jets, are a mess. So I feel like that's what's going on for those
The New
fans
York mess.
up there and
Yeah.
up there in the Meadowlands up in New York. But what do you know? Fans up there just really want to be foolish and just wear their bags and just be just crazy old New Yorkers. That's what they're known for. That's just
That's what they do.
They're going to do for the offseason. Exactly. That's what they do.
And
mean,
let's just root for the Giants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
probably
agree.
easier.
I agree. The Big Blue is by far the better team in that region. So for a New York sports team perspective, so yeah, I agree. I think they're by far the most beloved franchise along with Eel Manning and most of the Super Bowl wins. Yeah, I agree. They're the more by far most historic the most historic franchise in NFL history. I agree.
What's our next topic, Jack?
Well, we got about a few minutes left, so let's talk about some baseball standings right now. So currently, I'm checking the standings on my iPad, and I'm seeing the New York Yankees
Are we in first place?
are in first place. Not
No, they
in
haven't changed
first
that
place.
much, have they?
No, the Yankees
You're
are
9 games down.
well, from what I'm reading, the New York Yankees, well, the new, well, from what I'm seeing, the New York Yankees have currently have the first place lead in the AL East, thanks in large part to Juan Soto and
They had the best
Giancarlo
record in
Stanton
the
and
American
Aaron
League.
Judge and
Yeah,
Full stop.
they have the best record in MLB.
Is that right? Okay, yeah, they do actually. Wow.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, best
Phillies have
record.
the second best.
Yes, New York Yankees have the best record in all of MLB. They are fun to watch.
Well,
Aaron
that's because they
Judge.
play in a Little League stadium, right?
Yeah, but
Oh,
they're getting Garrett Cole back here soon.
oh yeah. Yeah, the Yankees have I'm checking their roster and the Yankees have names like um names like Carlos Rodriguez
Well,
and
yeah. Well, the big thing is Judge is
Mhm.
gotten into his prime form.
He's got 25 home runs already.
Yeah.
he's
So
off to a great start.
he started off a bit sluggish, and then ever since
Mhm.
whatever the cutoff, I think starting in May, I want to say, or
Yeah.
April or May, I guess. Then he was just on fire. So not
And
surprised.
I think Soto's still on the IL, but he should be back hopefully soon for him.
Yeah, you definitely got to give credit. It's a well-built team. Obviously maybe it's more of a veteran team looking in the short term versus like a Baltimore who
Yeah,
has a lot of young talent on the roster, but
yeah. Baltimore's got the second best record in the American League. Unfortunately, they're in the same division as the Yankees.
Which could be very competitive because if we get an Orioles Yankees matchup um uh a showdown in the AL East, we could be up for we could be up for a we could be up for a battle here. Maybe I think ESPN or Fox or maybe MLB Network should really televise those games, and we can and I can watch them and I can watch them in real time, and that would be that would just be great TV right there for us baseball fans.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that would be a great. But as for the Nationals, yeah, they lost today to the Detroit Tigers at Comerica
Well,
Park.
but we won the series against the Tigers.
Well, most importantly, that's which is great for you guys, which you did most importantly, but did lose to the Tigers today. So
We've won 5 out of our last 6 games,
yeah, you're in third place.
and we are only 1.5 games out of the wild card.
Really? Wow.
So there
and
is hope for us.
and so far this season,
And the NL stinks, huh?
Well,
and yeah,
Braves aren't playing
No, it's
too hot here lately.
if the other teams in the National League weren't like hovering around 500, we'd be in more trouble than we actually are, to be fair. So
Yeah.
your team, the Nationals currently sit in third place at the moment. In large part because of their star players just somehow getting better each day and each week. It's only the beginning because something tells me that next year they're going to be even better than ever before than they are this season. You think about it. Nationals finished last place in the last few years.
Yeah.
But this year is far more different. They'll be pretty good, but next year they're going to be great and more talented, better than more talented than ever before.
Well, the Nationals' young starting pitching has been really good of late.
Yeah, I think that's
And that's
a
what's
great
gonna
sign
hold the team.
for you guys as a Nationals fan, because they're only getting better. But I think next year they're going to be even really good team and maybe make a playoff run if they're healthy.
Mhm.
Most likely for next year, but I think 2025 and 2025 beyond, will be the most talented baseball team ever in Nationals franchise history. For my Wars on Good Guy Sports, that's just going to be my bold prediction for the Nationals. A great team next year and beyond, in future years. And as for the Braves go, yeah, they're not great. Nationals are 6-2 this season. The Nationals 6-2 this season against the Braves. So yeah, it's just not great if you're a Braves fan. But if you're a
They're a
Nationals
kryptonite.
fan, you gotta feel pretty good about yourself. But yeah, Nationals are just looking pretty darn hot right now, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, lots of time left, but I think ultimately, I think for the Nationals are in the wild card chase, and the Braves, you might say they're out of the chase for the division already, but you never know. Get to the dog days of July, you win a couple of games, you have a head-to-head against the Phillies, you do well. I feel pretty good about our wild card chances, obviously, but yeah, I mean, you can never say never for the East.
That's all you need to do is get into as a wild card.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, like we mentioned it a lot before, but we saw last year we walked the NL East and then we lost to the Phillies ultimately in the playoffs. So it could be a model for the wild card teams performing in this
Look
current
at
playoff
look at the
format.
Rangers last year.
Exactly.
They went up. They played up in Baltimore and beat the Baltimore in the first round.
It's all about getting hot at the right time, gentlemen. So talk to me at the All-Star break.
There you go.
All right, Jack, want to get us out of here?
All right, guys. It was great to have Blake Lumber around for a second. He had to get going because he had some other stuff he had to get done with his family. But a special thanks for allowing our other co-host Blake Lumber to come on for a few minutes. It was great to have it was great to spend time with him about our topics and our sports. From what he has to say to us on our sports show. We thank him for that, and I also want to thank Blake and Mike Roby. It was great talking to you guys. Sorry I couldn't join you at the Nationals game this past weekend, Mike. I'm sure it would be a great time with your family, but I'm sure there's always next time. I know that. But more importantly, Mike, it was great to hear from you. Great to talk to you. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you again soon, and we'll talk more about it next week on Good Guy Sports.
That sounds great, Jack.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All righty. Thank you, gentlemen.